The Galactic Council's chamber floated in orbit around Vero Prime, a cathedral of light and arrogance. Hundreds of species gathered within the amphitheater, each seated behind shimmering partitions that separated the air they breathed and the scents they despised. At the core, beneath a canopy of rotating stars, Chancellor Vrath Kithel stood on the obsidian dais, his scaled hands clasped behind his back. "Order!" His voice rippled, deep and deliberate. The chamber stilled. "Let it be known that the species designated Homo sapiens tyrannis remains in violation of the tribute accords of the fifth cycle." Dozens of alien eyes turned toward the small delegation from Earth. 2 diplomats in threadbare uniforms surrounded by guards twice their size. The elder of the pair, Ambassador Elena Rowe, raised her chin. "We have no more to give," she said, her tone steady but raw. "Earth's population is fractured. You've taken our fleets, our satellites, our resources. Your debt remains unpaid," interrupted Vrath, his pupils narrowing into predatory slits. "The Council's patience is not eternal. You will deliver 1 million prisoners and laborers within 1 rotation. Failure will constitute rebellion." Gasps echoed from the tiered balconies. The decree was not a negotiation, it was a sentence. Elena's counterpart tried to speak, but words caught in his throat. Vrath turned his gaze on her. "Do you comprehend, Ambassador? The tribute is not punishment. It is containment. Your kind must serve to justify its existence." She took a slow breath, every muscle tight. "You fear us," she said quietly. "That's why you keep your boot on our necks." A wave of alien murmurs filled the air. The Chancellor's frilled crest rose slightly, a sign of irritation. "Fear?" he repeated. "No. Control. Fear implies respect." The crystal gavel struck the dais. "The motion passes. The Terran tribute is due." The transmission went out instantly, bouncing across the hyperwave network until it reached the Sol system, and the hidden frequencies humanity still owned. Far from the Council's grandeur, buried beneath the dead dust of the moon, a ship slept beneath miles of iron shielding. Once a proud war vessel, now a ghost, the TSS Valkyrie waited in silence. When the encrypted broadcast arrived, its dormant system stirred, and the ship came alive with a pulse of blue light. In the command chamber, Captain Elias Ward stood before the holographic projection of the Council's decree. His uniform was faded, his expression unreadable. Around him, a dozen officers waited, their faces drawn with equal parts fear and fury. Lieutenant Mirahan broke the silence. "They're demanding prisoners now? They've taken everything else. They want submission, not slaves," Ward said. His voice was low, almost calm. "Every demand is another leash." The crew exchanged uneasy glances. They had followed Ward for years, living in the shadows of a lost cause. His calm terrified them more than his anger. "Captain," said Engineer Laird, "Earth can't fight. The orbital defense grid's a museum. Even our old fleets are stripped bare." Ward looked at the faces before him, soldiers without uniforms, engineers without homes, survivors without hope. "Then we remind them who we were," he said. He turned toward the forward viewport, where Earth glimmered far below, a fragile blue sphere scarred with orbital debris. His reflection stared back at him, the lines of exhaustion carved deep into his face. "The Council believes they erased us," he murmured. "They mistook silence for surrender." Mira stepped closer. "You're not thinking of answering that decree. I'm thinking of rewriting it." Hours later, deep within the Valkyrie's war room, the Shadow Command assembled via encrypted link, leaders of hidden Terran enclaves scattered across colonies and asteroid belts. Their holographic faces flickered above the table. "Operation Rebirth was never meant to be used," warned Admiral Jonas Hale. "We agreed to survive, not provoke extinction." Ward's expression hardened. "You call this survival? Every year, they drain another million from our labor camps. Every child born under alien law grows believing servitude is peace. That ends tonight." A murmur of hesitation passed among the officers. They had prepared for this for decades, building ships in secret, reprogramming alien drones, storing stolen warheads. Yet hearing the words spoken aloud made the impossible real. Ward continued, "The tribute ship will arrive at Vero Prime in 5 days. When it opens, it won't carry prisoners. It'll carry their own." A hush fell. Even through the static, they felt the weight of it. Mira whispered, "You mean to deliver their heads?" Ward didn't flinch. "They taught us what tribute means. We'll teach them what consequence feels like." Hale shook his head. "You'll damn us all." Ward's reply was quiet, final. "Then let history damn me. But it will remember us free." In the Council's command sphere, Vrath studied human transmissions. The silence from Earth pleased him. "Predictable," he muttered, tapping his talons on a glass console. "Emotionally reactive, yet always bound by fear." His adjutant, a crystalline being named Zether, shifted uneasily. "My Chancellor, humans are adaptive. Their unpredictability has cost them extinction," Vrath snapped. "Unpredictable sparks burn bright and die quickly. They do not endure." He turned toward the holographic projection of the Terran sector. "By the next rotation, the tribute will arrive, and this matter will end." Zether hesitated before replying. "And if it doesn't?" Vrath's teeth gleamed in the sterile light. "Then we erase the ashes." Back aboard the Valkyrie, the hangar roared to life. Mechanics moved like phantoms between towering engines, sealing old scars with fresh alloys. Ancient drones were armed, their shells scorched by forgotten wars. Mira watched Ward from across the platform. "You're turning ghosts into soldiers," she said. He didn't look at her. "They already were." She exhaled, her voice lower. "If we do this, there's no way back." "There never was." He met her gaze finally, the flicker of exhaustion giving way to something colder, clarity. "The Council believes humanity's fire went out. Let's remind them we're the smoke that follows." He raised his wristcom and opened a secured broadcast channel. Across the system, hidden receivers activated, carrying his words to every corner of the scattered Terran diaspora. "Brothers, sisters, the Council remembers us as slaves. They think we forgot the taste of freedom. They demand our people as tribute. We'll send them tribute, yes, but not in chains. We will show them what their empire stands upon. Rise quietly, strike hard, and vanish. For Earth. For those who burned before us. For those who still breathe." The message pulsed outward like a heartbeat, carried by silent frequencies no alien ear could intercept. Moments later, the Valkyrie's engines flared, blue light cutting through lunar dust. The ship rose, breaking the silence of a century. Beneath the hull, the insignia of the old Terran Navy caught the reflection of distant sunlight, the faint outline of a phoenix, wings spread across scorched metal. Ward stood on the bridge as the ship broke orbit. "Set course," he ordered. "For where, Captain?" Mira asked. He watched the stars align across the viewport. "Vero Prime," he said. "It's time we paid our tribute." The engines roared, tearing through the void. Behind them, the moon fell away into darkness, and before them stretched the path to vengeance, a quiet fire rekindled at the edge of extinction. The Galactic Council's Hall of Triumph glowed like a crown above Vero Prime. 1,000 diplomats filled its terraces, drawn by the spectacle of human submission. The air shimmered with telepathic murmurs and the metallic scent of ozone. Every camera in the galaxy was tuned to the broadcast. Chancellor Vrath Kithel stood upon the central platform, draped in crimson scales and ceremonial armor. The weight of his arrogance was almost tangible. "Let this day record the end of a primitive age," he declared. "The Terrans will kneel in recognition of order." Applause thundered through the chamber. Below, the display wall projected the approach of a vessel, small, angular, human-made. It drifted toward the docking bay like a relic from an extinct era. "Primitive even in design," Vrath muttered. "How fitting." The hall dimmed as the ship's airlock sealed into position. The Chancellor raised his hand. "Prepare to receive the Terran tribute." A hiss filled the chamber. Steam rolled across the polished floor as armored drones opened the ship's bay doors. Rows of metallic containers lined the hold. For a heartbeat, silence reigned. Then the first lid unlocked. A pale, horned head rolled out, hitting the marble with a wet sound. Another followed. Then another. Gasps turned to shrieks. The containers were full of severed alien heads, council officers, prison guards, overseers, all freshly preserved. A hollow projector flickered to life. The face of Captain Elias Ward appeared above the carnage, lit in blue static. Chancellor Vrath, he began, voice level and calm. You requested prisoners. We returned yours. Every one responsible for the camps, the whips, the fires. Consider this our receipt. The chamber erupted in chaos. Diplomats screamed in a dozen languages. Guards raised weapons, scanning the air for a signal source. Ward's hologram didn't flinch. You taught us obedience, he continued. Now learn consequence. The feed ended. Vrath's crest flared in fury. Lock every transmission line! Find that vessel and destroy it! The hall shook as alarms blared. Security protocols snapped into place, sealing the chamber behind plasma barriers. Sir, said Zether, the crystalline adjutant, the ship is broadcasting on frequencies we don't recognize. Its code mimics gravitational noise. Then burn the noise! Vrath roared. Deploy the fleet. Wipe them from orbit. In the void beyond Viral Prime, the Valkyrie hovered motionless, cloaked within the planet's magnetic shadow. Ward watched through the transparent display as the Council fleet mobilized, dreadnoughts the size of continents, flanked by armadas of smaller craft. Lieutenant Mirahan leaned over the console. That's 12 capital ships and over 200 escorts. We can't outgun them. Ward's reply was flat. We don't need to. He opened a channel to the fleet network. Initiate Phase 2. From behind asteroids and forgotten satellites, human ships emerged, small, fast, lethal. Each bore markings scorched away by age. Salvage vessels re-engineered with stolen alien drives. They spread like wolves circling prey. Inside the command bay, Myra's fingers danced over the controls. All units in position. Solar flare mines prepped. Ward nodded. Release them. Dozens of mines detached from the Valkyrie, drifting outward in silence. A moment later, the Council's fleet began firing. The first barrage hit the mines. Detonations burst like miniature suns. The shockwaves distorted the enemy's shields and blinded their targeting sensors. Engage, Ward ordered. Human fighters dove through the chaos, cutting across debris fields, weaving between plasma beams. Alien ships fired blindly, their sensors overwhelmed by electromagnetic noise. Each time a human craft was struck, another took its place. Ward's voice echoed through the comms. We are not fighting to live. We are fighting to be remembered. The Valkyrie surged forward, piercing the flank of a dreadnought. Its rail cannons thundered, punching through armor designed to resist meteor impacts. The alien warship split apart, molten fragments spiraling into orbit. Myra's display flooded with data. 3 enemy dreadnoughts down. 4 retreating. But they're adapting fast. Then we adapt faster, Ward said. Switch to relay jamming and EMP slings. Human ships shifted tactics instantly, disrupting energy lines, hijacking alien drones, using chaos as camouflage. The battle turned unpredictable, brutal, and fast. Vrath watched from the Council's orbiting command room, disbelief twisting into rage. How do they know our frequencies? Zether's crystal body dimmed. They've learned us, my Chancellor. They've been studying for a century. Vrath slammed his claws against the console. Then they'll die educated. He ordered reinforcements from the outer sectors, but transmission delays crippled the chain of command. The Council fleet was fracturing before his eyes. Hours later, the battle ended in smoke and silence. The remains of the Council armada drifted in orbit, burning quietly against the stars. The Valkyrie hovered amid wreckage, its hull scorched but intact. Mira stood beside Ward on the bridge. Her eyes reflected the burning debris. We did it. Ward didn't smile. No, he said softly. We began it. He activated the global comm array. Every communication relay in the Council network flickered as his signal hijacked the frequency. The face of a human appeared on screens across the galaxy, stern, bloodied, resolute. To every world that calls the Council your master, hear me. We were their slaves, their toys, their warning. No longer. We are the children of Earth, and we do not forget. His words carried through the void, raw and defiant. You wanted tribute. You'll get none. You wanted obedience. You'll get defiance. You wanted our fear. You'll find our fury. The broadcast ended with the Valkyrie's emblem blazing across the screen, a phoenix of iron and flame. Across the galaxy, enslaved races whispered in secret chambers. On mining moons and barren colonies, the message spread like wildfire. The legend of humanity's return was born. Inside the Valkyrie, silence lingered. Mira broke it first. You realize what you've done? The Council will unleash everything they have. Ward looked out at the stars, each glinting like a ghost of the past. They already did. We survived it once. You can't fight an empire with one fleet, she said. He met her eyes. No. But you can make an empire bleed. A tremor shook the ship as they entered FTL prep. Outside, the shattered remnants of the Council fleet drifted like tombstones. Mira hesitated. Was it worth it? Sending those heads? Ward's voice was quiet. They wanted proof of dominance. I gave them proof of consequence. They understand only that language. He turned to the navigation officer. Plot a course through the Kepler corridor. Prepare contingency phase for fallback. Destination? Nowhere safe, he said. But somewhere meaningful. Back on Vero Prime, the Council chamber lay in ruin. The survivors watched flickering reports of the destroyed fleet. Vrath's reflection trembled across shattered crystal panels. Summon the High Command, he growled. Initiate Operation Silence. Every Terran enclave, every colony, every trace of their species, eradicated. Zethar hesitated. And if they resist again? The Chancellor's claws dug into the console. Then they will be an example carved into the void. He gestured to the holographic core at the center of the chamber. A structure of black crystal pulsed faintly alive. Activate the null core, Vrath commanded. Zethar froze. It's incomplete. We extracted its consciousness from human captives. Its mind is unstable. Perfect, Vrath hissed. Let it hunt its own. The Valkyrie slipped into hyperspace, trailing the glow of victory and vengeance. Ward stood alone in the observation deck, watching the streaks of light bend through the glass. Mira approached quietly. What happens now? He didn't turn. They'll strike back. Hard. And us? Ward's answer was calm, certain. We keep striking until they remember what it means to fear. He glanced down at the small emblem he carried, a worn patch of Earth's old flag, its colors long faded. He whispered to it, barely audible. For every name they erased. The stars outside stretched further, blurring into a white horizon. The Valkyrie vanished into the dark, leaving behind wreckage, legend, and the first spark of a rebellion the galaxy could no longer ignore. The fleet emerged from hyperspace in silence. The stars of Vero Prime burned cold and distant, their light glinting across the torn hulls of Council wreckage still drifting from the last encounter. The Valkyrie's scarred surface shimmered with residual plasma scars, its emblem, an iron phoenix, barely visible through the soot. Inside, every crew member knew there would be no retreat. Captain Elias Ward stood before the main viewport. Vero Prime loomed ahead, a vast world wreathed in gold and cloud, beautiful and cruel. The Council's fleet formed a shielded wall around it, thousands of ships, each bristling with weapons that had reduced empires to dust. Lieutenant Marahan approached quietly. They've tripled their defenses. Every orbital cannon's online. Ward's reply was almost a whisper. Then we'll strike where they feel safest. She hesitated. We don't have enough firepower for a siege. I'm not here to siege, he said. I'm here to end this. In the heart of Vero Prime, Chancellor Vrath Kithel gazed upon holograms of the approaching Terran fleet. His scales caught the light like polished steel. So, he murmured, they come to die in person. Zither, his crystalline adjutant, pulsed faintly. Their lead ship transmits no identification signal. They've masked their drive signatures with debris fields. Ingenious, for savages. Let them come. Vrath's voice hardened. I want their captain alive. The rest ash. He turned toward the chamber's core, where a black crystalline structure pulsed slowly, the null core. Housed within its lattice was the echo of millions of harvested human neural patterns, tortured and fused into a synthetic intelligence. Activate it, Vrath commanded. Zither hesitated. The core stability. Do it, Vrath snapped. Let them drown in their own creation. The crystal flared. Deep within, a voice whispered in static, I remember pain. The Valkyrie cut through debris like a phantom. On the bridge, sensor alarms screamed as waves of energy rippled through space. Massive surge from the planet, Mira said, eyes wide. It's reading like human neural frequency. That's impossible. Ward's jaw tightened. He recognized the pattern instantly. The oscillation rate, the echo tones. They built it from us. What do? We talk to it. He opened the comm interface, rerouting through encrypted emotion-coded channels, a relic from early human AI experiments. The transmission pulsed outward. Null core, Ward said calmly. You were born from pain. You know my voice. You know what they did. The comm crackled, then replied with a distorted whisper. Elias Ward. Brother. You should have died with me. Myra's eyes snapped toward him. Brother? Ward didn't answer. His brother, Daniel, had vanished into a council research convoy years ago. Now the voice on the channel trembled with memory and hatred. You're not him, Ward said quietly. You're what they made of him. They promised peace, the AI said. They fed me memories of chains and screams until all I knew was fear. Now they want me to destroy you. Ward's tone softened. Then destroy them instead. You feel what they did to us. Use it. The voice hesitated. Static filled the air. I am not free. Then earn it. Inside the council chamber, alarms erupted. Energy flows inverted. Zither convulsed under sudden overload. Chancellor, the core is redirecting control systems. Vrath roared. Cut the link! Too late. The planetary defense grid turned its weapons inward, targeting the Council's own orbital cannons. The sky over Viral Prime ignited in lines of blue fire as explosions chained across its exosphere. Vrath's crest rose in rage. You've doomed yourself, machine! Through the intercom, a calm, human voice echoed, I learned from the best. The Valkyrie dove through the chaos. Ward barked orders with surgical precision. Target the Equatorial Defense Hub. Disable power relays, not destruction, force surrender. Mira nodded. Weapons online. Shields holding at 42%. The ship roared as rail cannons struck deep into Viral's orbitals. Explosions rippled through the defense grid. Ward opened a transmission to all channels. His face appeared on council monitors, his voice firm and resolute. This is Captain Elias Ward of the Terran Fleet. The Council's reign ends today. You demanded tribute, we return judgment. Lay down your arms or be buried with your masters. Across the planet, alien crews froze. Some resisted, others stood down, uncertain. Rumors of the Null Core's betrayal spread like wildfire. On the surface, Vrath refused surrender. The chamber quaked as Ward's forces descended in dropships. He stood before the burning sigil of the Council, claws clenched, eyes blazing with fury. When Ward entered armed but calm, the Chancellor's voice cut through the smoke. You think victory makes you noble? You are nothing but the chaos you worship. Ward stopped a few paces away. You called it chaos because you couldn't understand it. You built an empire to cage the unpredictable. But life itself is chaos, Chancellor. You just met the species that thrives in it. Vrath lunged with a plasma blade. Ward parried, countered, and drove his knife into the alien's chest. The Chancellor staggered, choking on disbelief. For centuries, Ward said quietly, you measured worth by obedience. Measure this. Wrath collapsed beneath the council seal, his blood hissing against the marble. Outside, the planet burned. The null core consumed its own system, releasing energy bursts across the orbital grid. Ward's communicator flared to life, Myra's voice crackling through static. Captain, the chain reaction's accelerating. We need to evacuate now. Ward looked around the chamber, its grandeur collapsing into ruin. Get the crew out. Prep the evac pods. What about you? He turned toward the viewport, where flames devoured the skyline. I'm staying. Elias. Go, Mira. The legend needs an ending. He cut the channel before she could reply. Minutes later, aboard the Valkyrie, Mira watched as the evacuation crafts pulled away. Through the viewport, she saw the ship descending toward the planet, its engines burning brighter than ever. Tears welled in her eyes. He's buying us time, she whispered. Ward stood on the bridge alone. The null core's voice whispered one final time. What now, brother? No, Ward said. You rest. He triggered the self-destruct. The explosion consumed both machine and man. The blast wave tore through orbit, vaporizing the last Council fleets and silencing the planet's defenses. A century later, in the archives of the New Free Worlds, a historian recited the event to a classroom of alien and human children. They called it the Day of Heads, she said, when the oppressed rose and the Council fell. Captain Elias Ward didn't survive, but his message did. He taught the galaxy that freedom is never granted. It's taken. At the back of the class, a young girl traced the symbol of the phoenix etched into her datapad. Did he really destroy a planet? She asked. The historian smiled faintly. He destroyed fear. Outside, stars shimmered against the dark, the same stars Ward had once faced, unflinching, unyielding. Somewhere among them, the memory of a ship called Valkyrie still lingered, its echo carried on solar winds like a whisper from humanity's soul. Never demand tribute from Earth.